Hello and welcome back to the Kitchen Table Modelers Workshop. My name's Ian and this is my modelling desk where I do all my work. So a quick kit review for you today. As you can see, we've got here Hobby Boss's 1/35th scale LAV 150 Commando AFE with Cockerel 90mm gun. So this is a smaller wheeled armoured fighting vehicle from Hobby Boss. And they do a number of vehicles in the 150 range. And I have actually built this kit before. And I picked up this one cheap on eBay. And I thought, why not do a bit of an inbox review and show you guys what the kit's like on the sprue. And I can show you what the kit is built as well. So, enough waffling from me. Let's get the camera on the table and we can have a look and see what we get in the box. Okay, so there's the box on the table, and I think first of all we have to comment on Hobby Boss's box art. This is fantastic. Definitely would sell the kit to me in the model shop, and it's nice to see a full size colour representation of the kit on the outside of the box. So it's kit number, never find it on these boxes, kit number 82422. 1/35th scale, LAV, so that stands for Light Armoured Vehicle 150 Commando, Armoured Fighting Vehicle with Cockerel 90mm gun. Size wise, it's 189.15mm by 73mm, so not just too big, not for ages under 14. If you look on the side, you've got a little bit of blurb, and the ends is much the same. On the back side we can see a colour rendition of the vehicle side on profile. We've got photo etch in it, which is good, and the usual safety recommendations. And there we go. So let's open the box and see what we get inside. So first off we've got sprue, transparent sprue, instructions. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 bags of sprues, bag of rubber tyres, colour call out which is green, so it's not really leaving much to the imagination, and we've got the chassis. So let's get them and do them bit by bit. I'll do the instructions first. So we've got single sheet open and out instructions, so kind of old-fashioned type instructions here. I'll try and get these squeezed in. So step one, we're looking at the lower chassis pan. We're putting in seats, we're putting in a transmission cover by the looks of it, building up the brake pedal possibly, some more seats, control levers, rear engine cover, building the engine cover, placing it onto the lower chassis. Not sure what this is, radiator matrix maybe going on the rear chassis. Got driver's seat, steering column, fire extinguisher, dash display, and an interior part. Got to be mindful, we've got holes to drill here, so we need to pay attention to which holes they are. We'll have a look at them when we look at the plastic. And then we're bringing the upper hole to the lower hole. Now, as with many Chinese companies, they're really bad at not giving you a colour call out. So you are going to have to do a little bit of research to find out what the interior colours are on this vehicle. I haven't actually done any research online yet to see, but I'm sure there will be some out there. It'll either be a white, cream, or probably a silver colour for the interior, and it'll depend if the seats are leather or vinyl or canvas. So a little bit of research is going to be needed here to figure out what the inside colours for this vehicle are, and that's really what lets down these Chinese vehicle model kits, so they rarely give you the colour call outs. But then we're modelers, so we should be used to doing a little bit of research, but it is handy if you have a little bit of help from the company. So steps 4, I'll fold these instructions a bit better. So steps 4, we're building up the axles. 5, we're putting on tie down bolts, bump stops, springs, the tool, Pioneer tool assembly, rear tow hitch. Moving on to step 6, we're putting the axles and the shock absorbers onto the vehicle. The spring plate bolt spring bolt plates and the hub assemblies. Step 7. We can see that we're making up the wheels, jerry cans, the rear matrix, radiator louver matrix, rear lights, and some of the hatches and light assemblies, and all the glass glazing pieces, grab handles and door handles going on. Glazing you might want to leave off till once you've painted the inside, and then glue it in so you can avoid having to mask it. So part 9, is that right? Yeah, so part 8 through to part 9, so we're looking at more access doors and glazings, rear engine covers going on, rear view mirrors, fuel filler covers, rear access door. Moving on to part 10, where we're building up more jerry cans for exterior storage, the rest of the glazing and the light assemblies, horn, front driver hatch cover, and then light guards and the gun crutch. We're then moving on to part 12, where we're starting to assemble the turret. So we've got the turret hatches, glazing, lifting eyes, commander's or gunner's sight aperture. We've got some antennas. We've got the rear bustle with the piece of photo etch in for the floor. Part 13, which is the last part, we're assembling the smoke dischargers. We are putting on the cover over the gunner's sight. Got the anti-personnel machine gun, and then we've got the gun assembly. Looks like the nice one-piece barrel. We've got the muzzle brake and a searchlight. Bring the turret to the hull, and that's you done. So 13 steps and the kit is built. Quite simple. We do have in the last page, we've got a sprue layout to check your parts against, and you've got basic instructions here but no colour callouts whatsoever, so that's definitely a negative for the kit. Right, colour callout itself on the sheet, so that's only for exterior only. 2 colours, black and green. You get Mr. Hobby Colour, Model Master, Tamiya. Interesting, they're saying XF20 for the green. If I remember right, the XF20 is a grey colour, Humbrol 117. So NATO green, any green you like. Do your research, find a nice interesting colour scheme. I'm sure there probably has been some interesting schemes. But yeah, a little bit of research on the model. Right, plastics, let's have a look. Let's start with the most obvious and the actual hull assembly. So nicely packed, stuck together, well protected. I can get it off, the sticky off my thumb. There we go. So we have got a 2-piece construction. So we're looking on the interior, and we'll be able to see the interior here. Got a lot of ejector pin marks here that are going to need to be treated if you're going to want to open the interior up. So we need to file these flush, and then we're going to need to fill them and make them disappear if we want to display this open. A bit of a shame, but it is an older kit. The top upper hull is a nice fit, so it just clips on. There we go. So we've got weld detail on the seams. Down here, some really nice fine weld detail. It's very well molded and it fits. I've got 2 locating pins at the rear for the rear joint, and 2 locating pins at the front for the front joint. and intrinsically it actually fits really quite well. Obviously it's slipping around because I've not got the rest of the interior here, but what I think we're going to have to do though is we're going to have to fill and put weld seams on these joints as well, just to bring it in to the rest of the model. And it'll be the same one here. This will all need to be filled when we bring it together. But it's a really nice molded chassis. It's not twisted, warped or anything like that. And if you look at the angles on it, you know, to get that molded, there's got to be a bit of slip molding or something going on there. It's come out really nice. Right, let's have a look and see what we're going to open first. Well, the turret bag is on the top first, so we'll just go for that. So, here's the turret. Now, hopefully you can see some beautiful weld seams along here as well. So that's continuity with the kit. Not so much, a little bit of flash, more burring than flash. You see there's some flash here and flash here on the joints. So we need to be careful when we're cleaning parts up and doing a bit of test fitting, but it should be okay. We've got a one-piece muzzle brake, which is really nice, that's been slide molded. And we've got a one-piece rear bustle that has also been slide molded. One-piece gun, so that'll be easy for the cleanup. Just be careful because they've got slightly larger sprue attachment points, so we don't want to hack them off and leave damage that needs to be repaired. So cut them a bit back and then trim them down to the barrel. Some careful sanding, you'll get a beautiful round barrel, but that's nice. And then you've got the canvas mantlet cover there that obviously makes it weatherproof onto the front mantlet here. But all in all, that's actually quite nice. Nicely molded, cleanly molded parts. Right, the next sprue in that bag is the axles and suspension. So you can see the individual leaf springs. We've got the axles, they're very cleanly molded. Pioneer tool, general purpose machine gun, Pioneer tool holder. We've got various hatches. We've got a very nice slide molded machine gun mount, which is nice. Pickaxe, more Pioneer tools, panhard rod or a drag link rod. We've got here, these are the mounting brackets for the smoke dischargers. One or two ejector pins on the inside of the hatches. There's no getting away from that. They'll have to be cleaned up if you want to display it open, and they are a bit nasty. See with a knife, see how much is coming off. So a bit of work there to clean those up before you start displaying it with hatches open, but nothing unsurmountable. Some nice bolt detail on the differential casings, although it does look, the axle, stub axle, does look a little bit basic detail. So this is a double sprue, so we'll just get one out. So this is your wheel details, jerry cans, shock absorbers, bump stops, grab handles. They look nice and fine. There's part of your diff assembly, fuel caps, a light unit, very fine molded bow shackles. And we've got more grab handles there. We've got some light guards and some steps, lifting points, and jerry can holders. We'll look on the reverse. Reasonably free of ejector pins. Very little flash. Little bit of flash, but nothing deadly. More burring than anything else. A little bit of cleanup, and these parts are going to go together really nicely. Right. Photo etch part, I'm not going to get it out of the bag, but there we go. You can see that's really rather nice. Nice wire mesh detail there, and 4 very nice thin attachment points. That should work perfectly. Oh, we've got some chain in there as well for the front winch point. Nice open link chain. Right, next we have got some more doors, and it's predominantly access doors. So there we go, very nicely moulded on the outside. Got some spring detail for the hinges on all the doors. Holes obviously for grab handles. But unfortunately, if we look on the underside, then lots of ejector pin marks to deal with. So that's a shame. So if you're going to display these open, there's going to have to be a bit of sanding and filling going on here just to smooth them up to get them looking really nice. And that seems to be a continuing theme throughout the whole vehicle if we cast our minds back to the inside of the lower chassis pan. These are the driver hatch doors, and they've got prominent ejector pin marks, and with the moulding of the door they'll be very difficult to do something with. Not insurmountable, but just a lot of work. But the exterior detail is quite nice and should mould quite nicely. Right, last sprue. We have got the rest of the wheel rims. We've got the transmission tunnel cover. We've got the engine cover parts here. Seats, steering wheel, brake pedal assembly. That'll be the driver's instrument panel there. Fire extinguisher, driver's seat. Reasonably clear on the reverse of these parts, especially on the driver's seat, which is nice. No ejector pins to fill there. One or two in the centre there, but you're not going to see them really. All in all, quite a nice part. Right, let's see what we've got. Glazing, I'm not going to bother getting this out. So you've got, as well as all the hull and turret glazing panels and the driver's windscreen, you've got the light assemblies, front and rear. We've got the searchlight assembly. We've got the little marker lights here. Interestingly enough, you've got the tow hook to go onto the chain, and then we've got the rear view mirrors. They're all really nicely moulded. They're clear enough. You're not actually going to see anything through them for the interior, but you'll get the idea that there's something there. And then tyres. Right, I'll just get one out, but you get 4 tyres. Vinyl tyres, I think. Quite softly moulded. You'd get away by saying it's done a lot of road miles on these tyres and they're wearing out. You probably will be able to get resin replacement tyres, and if you can, it'd be worth it, because these things haven't got the flat spot on the bottom that you'd associate with an armoured vehicle. But they'll probably do the job you need them to do. Right, so there is the kit parts. Not too bad, really. They're all present and correct. They don't have too much flash on them, and there's not too many of them, so we're looking at a nice, quick, fun build. Now, here's where I do something I've been wanting to do for a while and say, here's one I made earlier. So there we go. You go from you're ready to build to built. Now this kit here we're looking at is, if I can get the box in, the V150 Commando with 20mm cannon. So it's the LAV family vehicles, but instead of having the larger 90mm cannon, we've got a 20mm, probably autoloader or something on the turret. So how did it build? It built very well, to be fair. The turret is in one piece, and the beauty of this kit is you can build it in such a way that you can actually take it all apart for painting, which for me is brilliant because I really like modular construction on my models. So 4 tyres, fit very nicely on the rims. They look in keeping with the size of the vehicle. The underside of the vehicle is very nice and smooth. All the parts go together very well, and it's easy to construct. The interior of the vehicle, all the parts fit very well. You can still see that if you're going to open up the doors, then all the ejector pin marks on the interior wheel arches need to be filled. There's some on the floor that need to be filled, and the rear engine compartment that need to be filled. And you also need to scrape away the writing on the interior. So that's, if you're going to open up the interior, that's going to be a big job. The exterior, there's a few anomalies in the instructions. When I said look at the holes that need to be opened up, if we look on the underside, we can see the holes here. These two holes here that have been opened and then filled because I made a mistake, they're for the gun crutch, so they're actually for the other model I've got. And then these two holes here that need to be opened up are for wire rope holders. The doors all fit very, very well. There's no gaps. There are two holes here and here that I think are for a model that has a turret on the back here. They need to be filled, and it doesn't tell you to do that in the instructions. The fuel tanks fit nicely on the side. The rear light assemblies fit nicely, as do the front light assemblies. And then we move on to the turret. Now the bustle is a full PE part for the bustle in the back. It's quite fiddly, to be fair. It's an awkward shape because if you look at the turret itself, the sides slope in. So to actually get the square end folded and then taper it into the profile of the turret was challenging, but it's not unsurmountable. But it fits very well. Bit of super glue glues together well. Smoke discharges glue together well. I've left this detachable for painting, but it goes on nicely. All in all, a really nice kit. Just need to take your time, do your test fitting, and make sure you fill all the seams. And the beauty of this, as I said, is when you get the interior painted, so the interior that way and that way, I've left off all the armoured glass, because what you want to do is paint the interior, get it glued together, and then glue on the armoured glass and mask it on the outside, so when you spray the outside, it covers up any glass that might be seen from the inside, and then you'll be left with a view through to the interior without having to paint the inside of the glass. But if we look at this, now all the doors and panels are on, we can see the front, it fits very, very well. Yes, there probably is going to be a little bit of filling, but that'll be nothing more than wiping on a bit of putty and then, you know, wiping it off or sanding it. And there's nothing in the way to stop you sanding it, so that's not a problem. If you put your weld seams in, if it has them, you need to check your references. That's easily done as well. When we look at the rear, a little more work there, but again, it's a really good fit. And minimal filling I think is going to needed to do this, so I'm really, really impressed with that. And that's quite a complex shape. If you look at the different angles that's involved in that, it's a complex shape, but it clips in beautifully. And as I said, the turret fits on nicely, although I did have to ease out the gap there where the fastening teeth are for the turret to get it to mount properly. Now what you can do, and I'm going to plan on doing on this, is paint the inside as well as I can, and then just leave the hatches just ajar a little bit, and you should be able to see in there, you can see the driver's seat, and it gives you that impression that there's a full interior going on. And it's just a little point of interest. You can leave the hatches unglued, which I might do, or you can glue them up. It's to your heart's content. But the model itself goes together really, really well. Not a problem at all. Wheels go back on. So once you've painted it, they'll be able to go back on. We touch a super glue or something and get them on to keep them on in place. And there's your model. So there we go. There is the unbuilt kit, and there is the built kit. And I think it's really nice for me to be able to show you the built kit, to show you just exactly how well it does build together. And I am planning to paint this on the channel very, very shortly. So hopefully I'll have it done before this video gets fully edited, and then we'll be able to watch the review, and then we can watch some armor painting, because I've been doing quite a lot of aircraft recently. So there we go, Hobby Boss's LAV, or Light Armored Vehicle 150 Commando. So we've got the bare chassis for the one with the 90mm Cockerel gun, And then we've got the completed kit here with the 20mm cannon, showing you that it is a lovely little build and it's an interesting little model and it'll look fantastic on the shelves, and a great Mojo build. So enough talking now. I'll get all the parts back in the box and I'll get the camera back up on me to sum up. So there we have Hobby Boss's LAV 150. And I think, well, I like to think, you hope you agree with me, that we can see the kit itself is a cracking little kit. It goes together really, really well. There's not too many problems in construction. There's detail interior. Okay, it's a little basic, but still a detailed interior. So it gives you options to leave hatches open, put figures in. Also gives you options to do extra super detailing. And it's a really, really nice size of build. It's only a small build. It's not too small that you're going to struggle painting it, but it's not too big that you can't find anywhere to store it. And it's something that's a little bit unusual. It is an older armoured fighting vehicle, but I think it's one that saw wide use across America and its partner countries. And it's an interesting subject. It's just something different, and it's a build that if you're struggling with other bigger builds, this one certainly would be worth taking on, just to give you a bit of a boost, a bit of a mojo lifter. Just something that's simple, not uncomplicated, goes together well. Like I would class it as a weekend build. Now I built the kit, built this in a couple of nights, and it builds really nicely in the fact that it's modular. So we've seen we can take the turret off, we can build it all up, the body comes off, it can come on and off, so you can paint the interior, glue the body down, paint the exterior, you've got yourself a kit. And I'm intending to paint this one for the channel, so we can see how we can use painting techniques to enhance the details, to bring the best out of the kits. So that's something to look forward to in the very near future. But there we go. Hobby Boss's LAV 150 Commando. It's got to be a highly recommended for me, even new from the shops. These aren't very expensive kits. You can pick them up for around about the £25 mark on eBay, and it's well worth a punt. It's a quick build, it's got a good level of detail. There's plenty of subject matter choice if you want to do a bit of research on the internet and do a different scheme. And it's something that's going to fire up the imagination and fire up the mojo. So I have to say it's highly recommended. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them down below. I always take the time to read them and appreciate anyone that does take the time to put them there. And I will respond. Until next time, guys, happy modelling and stay safe.